Welcome back. In this video, I'm going to be doing the next round of TBR Bingo. I have 24 spaces for prompts, with the middle space being used as a freebie. I'm going to pick the prompts at random out of a select group of prompts. If you have any ideas, please put them in the comments. When I get a bingo, I get a token, which means I can buy a book. And when I get the 4 corners bingo, I get half a token. I also get tokens for every 10 books I read, and every 12 bingos I get. Another way I can get tokens is by completing readathons. Half a one for a week long, one for a month long, and a half token every 3 months for the year-long readathons. Each book can only fit one prompt, with the exception of 1 or 2 prompts. After the 3 months are up, I replace every crossed-out prompt and leave the ones I didn't end up completing. Hopefully that all makes sense. If not, ask questions in the comments. Let's go through how it went the last 3 months. Starting with the stats. I read 25 books in total. 8 in April, 15 in May, and 2 in June. I also had 1 DNF I need to add into the graveyard. In terms of the amount of pages, I read 5,209, 2,417 in April, 2,373 in May, and 419 in June, which is an average of about 57 pages per day, and just over 208 pages per book. My average rating was a 3.32. I had 1 2-star, 15 3-stars, and 9 4-stars. In terms of format, I read 16 ebooks, 5 physical books, and 4 audiobooks. In terms of genres, I read 1 horror, 1 mystery, 5 fantasies, and 18 romances. I read 7 young adult and 18 adult books. I read 5 standalones, 4 first in a series, 5 series I continued in, and I finished or caught up in 3 series. Of those 10 ongoing series, I plan to continue in 7, not continue 1, and probably not but maybe continue in 2 series. And finally, in terms of authors, I read from 22 authors. 7 I read from before, and 15 were new to me. As always, I have done monthly wrap-ups in shorts for all 3 months, linked below. Starting off with the first in the Time of Iron series by Sarah Rees Brennan, Long Live Evil. Starting off the quarter with a 4-star. I was really invested in the story, and even found myself getting attached to some of the minor characters, which made the whole experience more enjoyable. Overall, I had a great time with it. The premise, characters, and plot all worked really well for me. It did get a bit cringe at times, but honestly, I found it more amusing than anything. I used this for one of the random number prompts. Next was the 4-star read by Shannon Chakraborty, The Adventures of Amina El-Sarafi. I really enjoyed this book, especially because the characters are what made it shine. I'm always a sucker for a good get the band back together story, and this one was a lot of fun. The premise took me right away, and even though the beginning is a bit slow and the pacing drags at times, it has this readability that kept me turning pages. I do wish there had been a bit more background character development, but overall it's a fun, suspenseful adventure with a wonderfully unique cast. I use this for the pretty cover prompt. My first 3-star of the quarter is Dilly in Technicolor by Maisie Eddings. I thought the book had a great pace overall, with events that were well written and engaging, but the ending felt rushed, since long-standing and new problems were quickly resolved in just under a couple of chapters, and some parts came off as a bit unrealistic. It was still a cute, light rom-com that was easy to pick up, with a sweet romance and fun side characters, though I do wish that there had been more focus on them and a stronger, more satisfying resolution. I used this for the 2023 release prompt. A random 3-star read was Staking His Claim by Reagan Phillips. I thought this was just okay. It worked fine as a short story, and I don't think making it longer would have improved it. The author did a solid job with detailing character setup, but the storyline itself felt a bit overblown for what it was. The characters were likable enough, yet I really couldn't connect with the main ones. They came across as a little plain to me. That might be because it's the 5th book in a series I haven't followed, but even so, it didn't fully pull me in. I used this for the second random number prompt. Bringing it back with a 4-star read was House of Dragons by Jessica Clues. I went into this book really excited, and it definitely didn't disappoint, even though it turned out to be completely different from what I expected. It promises dragons and absolutely delivers. But what stood out to me even more was the group of 5 kids thrown into a situation they never asked for, all just trying to figure things out. I really liked how each character felt so distinct, from ruthless to desperate to resourceful, and how their different backgrounds shaped who they are and the kinds of rulers they might become. It felt like a fun read overall, though a bit predictable at times, and more like a setup for bigger, more intense events. I use this for the items on cover prompt. Up next is 2 short stories from the Improbable Meet Cute Second Chances collection, Second Act Romance by Julie Soto, and Accidentally Yours by Christina Lauren. Both 3 stars. I found the stories a bit predictable at times, and wished the characters had been developed more deeply, since while the chemistry was there, I wasn't always fully invested in their relationships. Some parts also moved too quickly, which made certain emotional moments feel less impactful than they could have been. Still, I thought they were an enjoyable, easy read overall. Cozy, romantic, and not too heavy. I used the first for the last letter, first letter prompt, and I didn't use a prompt with the second book. I read the whole Into Darkness series by Nevessa Allen, Lights Out, Caught Up, and Game On, all 4 stars. I had such a great time with these books. I was laughing out loud so often, and it felt unhinged in the best way. I loved all the characters, and the mix of humor, spice, and sharp banter made it such a fun, engaging read. The plots really worked for me, and the relationship dynamics kept me hooked the entire time. Some scenes completely knocked me out, and overall it was just an unforgettable experience, especially reading along with the audiobook. I genuinely can't recommend it enough, but I'd suggest checking the trigger warnings beforehand. I use this series for the start a new series, continue in a series, and finish a series prompts. My first full novel especially since everyone was forgiven so easily in the end when their behavior didn't really deserve it. I use this for the booktuber's favorite from last year prompt, as it was in Becca in the Books, the 10 best books I read in 2025. Next was the Home Sweet Home Holidays Collection, Snow Place Like Home by Laura Pavlov, Merry and Bright by Allie Rosen, All Wrapped Up in You by Rosie Dannon, and You Better Not Pout by Mia Souza, all 3 stars. I thought this anthology of Christmas romances was a bit of a mixed bag, but overall it was a solid, easy way to pass the time. Some stories were surprisingly steamy for something I expected to be more cozy, but they were still fun, cute, seasonal reads. It's not something I'll probably think about again, and I'm okay with that. I used the second book for the title starts with M prompt, and the fourth book for the lowest rated prompt, with the first and third books not being used for any prompts. I read another in the Green Mountain Boys series by Olivia T. Turner, Hiding Out in the Mountains, a 3-star. The lead felt a little too old for my taste. That said, this one stood out from the rest of the series because it focused more on the storyline rather than just the steamy parts, which I really appreciated, even though it's still a bit over the top and leans into insta-love. I still ended up liking it, and it's actually one of my favorites in the series. I use this for the double-length The Last Read prompt. Something I've had for like 5 years now is Dating Makes Perfect by Pin Dip Dunn, which I only ended up giving a 3-star. I thought it was pretty enjoyable overall, even though I wanted a bit more from it. Some parts of the plot really didn't make sense, especially the fake dating idea from the parents, which felt fun at first, but ended up having a lot of confusing holes. It also seemed like certain elements were added just to create drama, rather than feeling natural to the story. The constant references to other romance movies started out cute, but became a little overdone, especially consider the parents' push for a real romantic connection. Still, even though it was predictable, I can't deny, I like a cute love story. I use this for the paperback prompt. I caught up on the Wayward Children series with Through Gates of Garnet and Gold by Shannon McGuire, which I gave a 4-star. I really liked this book and felt like it served as a transitional piece into the series, setting things up for what's coming next. It was an engaging, quick read that didn't take up too much time, and I loved getting to revisit characters from the other books. Even though I haven't liked about half the series overall, this one pulled me in right away with its action and drama, and I especially enjoyed the characters. It reminded me why I've stuck with this series for so long. I use this for the young adult prompt. Another novella series I caught up on was Katie Rias's Holiday with a Hitman, a very merry hitman, and All I Want for Christmas is a Hitman, the second and third books in the series, both only getting a 3-star. I think this series was such a fun, fast holiday romance read, with a great mix of comedy, suspense, and festive vibes. It's definitely not realistic, but that's part of the charm. It's chaotic, unserious, and really entertaining. The pacing is quick, the action starts right away, and it's super easy to binge. I really enjoyed the balance of humor, romance, and high-stakes tension, along with the confident, capable characters. That said, parts of the story felt a bit predictable, especially if you've read other romantic suspense novellas. But overall, I still felt it to be a really enjoyable read. I use this for the third random number and the animal on cover prompts. A was because it was so short and didn't give me the how did this get published thought. This sounded like No Exit, but with aliens, and I wanted to like this so bad. I was actually enjoying this at first, but once the suspense broke, I lost interest pretty quickly. The pacing started to feel rushed, and everything moved so fast that I didn't even have time to feel genuinely scared. There was also noticeable editing issues that pulled me out of the story, and some of the characters made decisions that just didn't feel realistic. By the end, the story felt like a mixed opportunity, with an abrupt and unsatisfying conclusion. Overall, it felt like an awful execution of what could have been a really promising premise, and I ended up very disappointed. I use this for the standalone prompt. I read 2 from the Scared Sexy collection, Hot for Slayer by Allie Hazelwood, and Fallen by Christina Lauren, both 3 stars. They weren't mind-blowing or anything, but they were fun, quick reads and exactly what I needed at the time. It felt light and non-serious, a little cringe at moments, but still enjoyable. Perfect for a cozy autumn read. They didn't leave a lasting impression, but I appreciated how easy and entertaining they were. I used the first for the 5-star author prompt, and didn't use the second book for any prompt. I read another from T.E. Kinsey in the Lady Hardcastle Mystery Series, In the Market for Murder, a 3-star. I've been enjoying these light-hearted English mysteries. They're such charming, cozy reads that always manage to put a smile on my face, especially with the fun perspective of the outspoken lady's maid. Even though this installment didn't quite charm me as much as the first, maybe because the mystery itself wasn't exciting this time. I really love the setting and characters, and I definitely plan to keep going with the series. I use this for the person on the cover prompt. And last but not least is Andrew Rose, How to Defeat a Demon King in 10 Easy Steps, a 4-star. I absolutely loved this book. It's a fun, fast-paced adventure that feels both fresh and nostalgic, with a light, playful tone and engaging action that kept me turning the pages. It made me smile while still delivering high-stakes moments, and I especially enjoyed watching the protagonist unlock skill trees and make oddball choices along the way. A few parts felt a bit rushed or simplified, and the ending didn't feel like a fully satisfying payoff, but overall, I had a great time reading it, and that didn't take much away from the experience. I used this for the On Somebody Else's TBR prompt, as it was in Kevin Reads It All. I've gamified my 26 books. One more prompt crossed off, but not knitting a book, was my free space prompt I pulled last time. So, with 25 books read, I was able to cross out 22 prompts and get 9 bingos. Finding titles to read at the movie theater with the title buzzword. In April for ordinal numbers, I used Second Chance Romance. In May, for the word make, I used Dating Makes Perfect. And for the one-word title in June, I used Fallen. Placing some stickers in my journal for the cover buzzword, I used Staking His Claim. For accessories in April. In May, I used In the Market for Murder for Border. And in June, I used Fallen for Wings. In my author challenge, I need to find an author for every letter, as long as it's the first letter of either the first or last name. It'll work, with the caveat that an those letters. And the last new challenge this year is a small romance trope challenge. Just find a book to fit one of these 6 most common romance tropes. Opening the door to Grumpy Sunshine is Lights Out. Next door is Merry and Bright with Fake Dating. And arriving last for this challenge is the chess romance Check and Mate in the sports room. And with the rooms filled, let's go out and get some drinks. Let's head down into town and see what they'll have for the holiday season. For the tokens, I was able to grab 2 for every 10 books read, and 1 for getting a 12th bingo, including the leftovers from last time, and 8.5 tokens for the bingos I got. With the buzzword challenge, I get a half token every completed quarter. With the author challenge, I'll get a half token for every 6 or 7 books used. And for the tropes challenge, because I finished it, I will get a half token. Along with those challenges, I was a botanist on Bowser 4 in the Escape the Readathon in May by Books with Lexi. We started in the research room and worked our way to the escape pod. This readathon was also the reason I read 15 books in May. With this, I get 1 token, which gives me 14 tokens from the last 3 months. I ended up using 1 token, getting some books in. Seasick by Kristen Cass and Pin Dip Done. Let's remove those crossed off prompts and get some new ones up. Alright, we need 22 prompts to go with the 2 from the last board. First up is mid-year or end-of-year tag. Want to read something from any of my mid-year freakout or end-of-year check-in videos. Second prompt. Over 300 pages. Next prompt. Read a book in a day. Fourth prompt is a TBR veteran. Our fifth prompt is going to be random color on cover. Okay. 1, 2, 3. Traffic yellow. Next prompt. An LGBT plus read. 11th prompt is a new author. Our 8th prompt is going to be under 300 pages. Next prompt. A spicy read. 10th prompt is a 2025 release. Our 11th prompt is going to be something with who, what, when, where, why, or how in the title. Next prompt. A mystery, thriller, or horror. 13th prompt is a fantasy. Our 14th prompt is going to be rainbow book covers. 6 books with one color of the rainbow on it. Next prompt. My last pop book. 16th prompt is a reread. Our 17th prompt is going to be a hardcover. Next prompt. An ebook. 19th prompt is a new 5-star read. Our 20th prompt is going to be read every day for 7 days. It could be 1 book or 7. Next prompt. Something from my unread physical TBR jar. Okay, let's find out. It's gonna be The Chosen Ones from Veronica Roth. Last prompt to go. A book with even page numbers. So, all combined, that's 1 prompt about the rating. 2 are format based. 2 about the year released. 2 about when I read the books. 2 about my purchasing of the book. 4 about the page count. 4 about the content. 5 challenge prompts. 1 reread prompt. And a book from my TBR jar. Along with the bingo prompts, I have the next September is Me and My for the title, and Fire and Smoke for the cover. Okay, so those are the prompts and challenges for the next 3 months. I'm always excited about what I can read using this board. If you have any questions about anything I've gone over, please put